Question 1. The Constituent Assembly of India was set up under which of the following plans? The correct answer is option C, Cabinet Mission Plan. Explanation: the Constitution of India was framed by a Constituent Assembly which was set up under the Cabinet Mission Plan, 1946. The Cabinet Mission, comprising Lord Pythick Lawrence, Stafford Cripps, and A.V. Alexander, was sent to India in March 1946 to find a solution to India's independence and lay down the procedure for the Constitution drafting body. Question 2. The Constituent Assembly took approximately how long to complete the task of drafting the Indian Constitution? The correct answer is option C, 2 years, 11 months, and 18 days. Explanation: the Constituent Assembly took almost 3 years, 2 years, 11 months, and 18 days to complete its historic task of drafting the Constitution for an independent India. During this period, it held 11 sessions covering a total of 165 days. Question 3. What was the reduced membership of the Constituent Assembly after the partition of India? The correct answer is option C, 299. Explanation: the total membership of the Constituent Assembly was originally to be 389. However, as a result of the partition, a separate Constituent Assembly was set up for Pakistan and representatives of some provinces ceased to be members. As a result, the membership of the Assembly was reduced to 299. Question 4. Which of the following was not a member of the Cabinet Mission that visited India in 1946? The correct answer is option D, Lord Wavell. Explanation: the Cabinet Mission consisted of 3 British Cabinet Ministers, Lord Pythick Lawrence, Stafford Cripps, and A.V. Alexander. Lord Wavell was the Viceroy of India at the time, but not a member of the Cabinet Mission itself. Question 5. Who was the President of the Constituent Assembly for its first meeting on 9 December 1946? The correct answer is option C, Dr. Sachidanand Sinha. Explanation: Dr. Sachidanand Sinha was the President of the Constituent Assembly for its first meeting. Later, Dr. Rajendra Prasad was elected as the permanent President of the Constituent Assembly. Question 6. From which country's constitution were the concepts of fundamental rights, independence of judiciary, and judicial review borrowed for the Indian Constitution? The correct answer is option B, US Constitution. Explanation: the US Constitution served as the source for several key features of the Indian Constitution, including fundamental rights, independence of judiciary, judicial review, impeachment of President, removal of Supreme Court and High Court judges, and the post of Vice President. Question 7. The concept of Directive Principles of State Policy, DPSP, in the Indian Constitution is borrowed from the Constitution of which country? The correct answer is option D, Ireland. Explanation: the Irish Constitution is the source for the Directive Principles of State Policy, nomination of members of Rajya Sabha, and the method of election of the President in the Indian Constitution. Question 8. The idea of republic and the ideals of liberty, equality, and fraternity in the preamble of the Indian Constitution are inspired by which country's constitution? The correct answer is option B, French Constitution. Explanation: the French Constitution inspired the concepts of republic and the ideals of liberty, equality, and fraternity in the preamble of the Indian Constitution. Question 9. Which part of the Indian Constitution deals with fundamental rights? The correct answer is option B, Part 3. Explanation: Part 3 of the Indian Constitution, comprising Articles 12 to 35, deals with fundamental rights. These rights are justiciable and are defended and guaranteed by the Supreme Court. Question 10. The panchayats are described in which part of the Indian Constitution? The correct answer is option A, Part 9. Explanation: Part 9 of the Indian Constitution, covering Articles 243 to 243O, deals with the panchayats. This part was added by the 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act of 1992. Question 11. The 7th schedule of the Indian Constitution contains which of the following? The correct answer is option C, Union List, State List and the Concurrent List. Explanation: The 7th schedule of the Indian Constitution contains the Union List, State List and the Concurrent List, which define the distribution of legislative powers between the Union and the states. Question 12. Which schedule of the Indian Constitution deals with the powers, authority and responsibilities of municipalities? The correct answer is option D, 12th schedule. Explanation: The 12th schedule of the Indian Constitution, added by the 74th Amendment Act, contains the powers, authority and responsibilities of municipalities. The 11th schedule deals with panchayats. Question 13. The preamble to the Indian Constitution was amended by which Constitutional Amendment Act? The correct answer is option B, 42nd Amendment Act, 1976. Explanation: The preamble to the Indian Constitution was amended by the 42nd Amendment Act, 1976. This amendment added the words socialist, secular, and integrity to the preamble. Question 14. Which of the following is not one of the 5 ways to acquire Indian citizenship as provided by the Constitution of India under the Citizenship Amendment Act, 1986? The correct answer is option B, citizenship by marriage. Explanation: The Constitution of India under the Citizenship Amendment Act, 1986 provides 5 ways to acquire citizenship: citizenship by birth, citizenship by descent, citizenship by registration, citizenship by naturalization, and citizenship by incorporation of territory. Citizenship by marriage is not a direct way to acquire citizenship, though marriage to an Indian citizen can be a ground for registration. Question 15. During the operation of a national emergency, which of the following fundamental rights cannot be suspended? The correct answer is option C, right to life and personal liberty, Article 21. Explanation: Fundamental rights can be suspended during the operation of a national emergency except the rights guaranteed by Articles 20, protection in respect of conviction for offences, and 21, protection of life and personal liberty. The 6 rights guaranteed by Article 19 can be suspended only when emergency is declared on the grounds of war or external aggression. Question 16. The right to property was deleted from the list of fundamental rights by which Constitutional Amendment Act? The correct answer is option B, 44th Constitutional Amendment Act, 1978. Explanation: The right to property was deleted from the list of fundamental rights by the 44th Constitutional Amendment Act, 1978. It was subsequently made a legal right under Article 300A in the Constitution. Question 17. Which writ literally means to have the body and is issued to inquire under what authority a person has been imprisoned or detained? The correct answer is option C, habeas corpus. Explanation: Habeas corpus literally means to have the body. It is a writ issued by the court to a person who has detained another, commanding him to produce the body of the person in court. The court then examines the cause and legality of detention. Question 18. A writ issued by a higher court to an inferior court forbidding the latter to continue proceedings in a case in excess of its jurisdiction is known as? The correct answer is option C, prohibition. Explanation: The writ of prohibition is issued by the Supreme Court or a High Court to an inferior court forbidding the latter to continue proceedings in a case in excess of its jurisdiction or to usurp a jurisdiction with which it is not legally vested. It is issued during the pendency of proceedings. Question 19. Which of the following statements is true regarding the Directive Principles of State Policy, DPSP? The correct answer is option C. They are non-justiciable in nature. Explanation. The Directive Principles of State Policy, DPSP, are non-justiciable in nature, meaning they are not legally enforceable by the courts for their violation. Therefore, the government cannot be compelled to implement them. They aim at providing social and economic justice to the people. Question 20. The fundamental duties were included in the Indian Constitution by the 42nd Amendment Act, 1976, based on the recommendations of which committee? The correct answer is option C, Swaran Singh Committee. Explanation. A list of 10 fundamental duties was included in the Indian Constitution by the 42nd Amendment Act, 1976, in the form of Article 51A. This was based on the recommendations of the Swaran Singh Committee, which suggested that duties and rights are inseparable. Question 21. The 11th fundamental duty, related to providing opportunities for education to children between 6 and 14 years, was added by which Constitutional Amendment Act? The correct answer is option C, 86th Amendment Act, 2002. Explanation. The 11th fundamental duty was added by the Constitution, 86th Amendment Act, 2002, in the form of Article 51A, K. It states that it shall be the duty of every citizen who is a parent or guardian to provide opportunities for education to his child or ward between the age of 6 and 14 years. Question 22. According to Article 53 of the Indian Constitution, the executive power of the Union shall be vested in whom? The correct answer is option C, the President. Explanation. Article 53 of the Indian Constitution states that the executive power of the Union shall be vested in the President. All executive actions are taken in his name, though he exercises this power on the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers. Question 23. Which of the following are not part of the Electoral College for the election of the President of India? The correct answer is option C, nominated members of Parliament. Explanation. The Electoral College for the President's election consists of the elected members of both Houses of Parliament and the elected members of the Legislative Assemblies of the states, including the National Capital Territory of Delhi and the Union Territory of Puducherry. Nominated members of Parliament are explicitly excluded from the Electoral College. Question 24. What is the minimum age required for a person to be qualified for election as the President of India? The correct answer is option C, 35 years. Explanation. To be qualified for election as President, a person must be a citizen of India, must have completed the age of 35 years, and must be qualified for election as a member of the House of the People, Lok Sabha. Question 25. The resolution for the impeachment of the President can be initiated in which House of the Parliament? The correct answer is option C, either House of the Parliament. Explanation. The impeachment procedure against the President can be initiated in either House of the Parliament. The resolution must be signed by at least 1/4 of the total membership of the House, and a 14-day notice must be given to the President. Question 26. Regarding the impeachment of the President, which of the following statements is correct? The correct answer is option C. The elected members of the Legislative Assemblies of States have no role in the impeachment proceedings. Explanation. While the elected members of the Legislative Assemblies of States participate in the election of the President, they have no role in the impeachment proceedings. Conversely, the nominated members of Parliament, who do not vote in the President's election, have the right to deliberate and vote during impeachment. Question 27. In case the office of the President falls vacant due to death, resignation, or impeachment, who among the following becomes President till a new incumbent assumes office? The correct answer is option C, Vice President. Explanation: in case the office of the President falls vacant, the Vice President acts as President. If the Vice President is also absent, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, or in his absence, the senior-most judge of the Supreme Court, becomes President until a new President is elected. Question 28. Which of the following statements is incorrect regarding the legislative powers of the President? The correct answer is option C. The President must assent to a money bill even if returned for reconsideration. Explanation: the President can return a bill to the Parliament for reconsideration if it is not a money bill or a constitutional amendment bill. For a money bill, the President cannot return it for reconsideration. He must either give assent or withhold assent. The President is obliged to assent to a bill if it is passed again after reconsideration. Question 29. Which of the following terms refers to the President's power to award a lesser sentence on special grounds? The correct answer is option C, respite. Explanation: the President has various pardoning powers: pardon, completely absolves, reprieve, temporary suspension of sentence, commutation, substitution with lighter character, respite, awarding a lesser sentence on special ground, and remission, reducing amount of sentence without changing character. Question 30. The Vice President of India serves as the ex officio chairman of which of the following? The correct answer is option B, Rajya Sabha. Explanation: the Vice President of India is the ex officio chairman of Rajya Sabha. In this capacity, his powers and functions are similar to those of the Speaker of Lok Sabha. He presides over the sessions of the Rajya Sabha. Question 31. A resolution for the removal of the Vice President of India can be initiated only in the. The correct answer is option B, Rajya Sabha. Explanation: the Constitution states that the Vice President can be removed by a resolution of the Rajya Sabha passed by an absolute majority, more than 50% of total membership, and agreed to by a simple majority, 50% of voting members, of the Lok Sabha. Such a resolution can only be initiated in the Rajya Sabha. Question 32. In the parliamentary system of government in India, who is considered the real executive, de facto, authority? The correct answer is option C, the Prime Minister. Explanation: in the scheme of the parliamentary system of government, the President is the nominal executive, de jure, authority, while the Prime Minister is the real executive, de facto, authority. The Prime Minister is the head of the government. Question 33. According to the 91st Constitutional Amendment Act, 2003, the total number of ministers, including the Prime Minister, in the Council of Ministers shall not exceed what percentage of the total strength of the Lok Sabha? The correct answer is option C, 15%. Explanation: the 91st Constitutional Amendment Act, 2003, stipulated that the total number of ministers, including the Prime Minister, in the Council of Ministers shall not exceed 15% of the total strength of the Lok Sabha. This amendment aimed to limit the size of the Council of Ministers. Question 34. The Council of Ministers is collectively responsible to which of the following? The correct answer is option C, the Lok Sabha. Explanation: the Council of Ministers shall be collectively responsible to the Lok Sabha. This means that the entire Council of Ministers stands or falls together, and if a no-confidence motion is passed against any minister, the entire Council must resign. Question 35. The 104th Constitutional Amendment Act removed the reserved seats for the Anglo-Indian community in which of the following? The correct answer is option C, Lok Sabha and State Assemblies. Explanation. The 104th Constitutional Amendment Act extended the reservation of seats for SCs and STs in the Lok Sabha and State Assemblies from 70 years to 80 years. Simultaneously, it removed the reserved seats for the Anglo-Indian community in the Lok Sabha and State Assemblies, discontinuing the provision for nominated Anglo-Indian members. Question 36. Which of the following is an exclusive power of the Lok Sabha? The correct answer is option C, introducing money and financial bills. Explanation. Money and financial bills can only originate in the Lok Sabha. The Rajya Sabha has limited powers regarding money bills, primarily to make recommendations. The other options are exclusive powers of the Rajya Sabha or shared powers. Question 37. Who has the final and binding authority to certify whether a bill is a money bill or not? The correct answer is option C, the Speaker of Lok Sabha. Explanation. Whether a bill is a money bill or not is certified only by the Speaker of Lok Sabha, and his decision in this regard is final and binding. This decision cannot be questioned in any court of law. Question 38. Which of the following statements about the Rajya Sabha is correct? The correct answer is option C, 1/3 of its members retire every 2 years. Explanation. The Rajya Sabha is a permanent body and is not subject to dissolution. Its members sit for 6-year terms, with 1/3 of the members retiring every 2 years. The Vice President of India is the ex officio chairman of the Rajya Sabha, not the Speaker of Lok Sabha. Question 39. Under which article can the Rajya Sabha adopt a resolution asking the Parliament to make laws on subjects of the state list in the national interest? The correct answer is option A, Article 249. Explanation. The Rajya Sabha, under Article 249, may by a special majority of 2/3 votes adopt a resolution asking the Parliament to make laws on subjects of the state list in the national interest. This resolution remains valid for 1 year and can be extended. Question 40. Which of the following is an exclusive right of the Rajya Sabha? The correct answer is option C, to initiate a resolution for the removal of the Vice President. Explanation. The Rajya Sabha has the exclusive right to initiate a resolution for the removal of the Vice President. This is because the Vice President happens to be its chairman and draws his salary as such. Money bills can only be introduced in Lok Sabha, and voting on demands for grants is also exclusive to Lok Sabha. Question 41. The period between the prorogation of a house and its reassembly in a new session is called. The correct answer is option B, recess. Explanation. The period between the prorogation of a house and its reassembly in a new session is called recess. Prorogation is done by the President, while adjournment is a short break within a session by the presiding officer. Question 42. A joint sitting of both houses of Parliament cannot be called for resolving a deadlock regarding which of the following bills? The correct answer is option D, both Money Bill and Constitutional Amendment Bill. Explanation. Joint sitting cannot be called for resolving a deadlock regarding a Money Bill and a Constitution Amendment Bill. For Money Bills, Lok Sabha has overriding powers, and for Constitutional Amendment Bills, they must be passed separately by both houses with a special majority. Question 43. Which of the following is a ground for disqualification of a Member of Parliament under Article 1021 of the Constitution? The correct answer is option B, if he holds any office of profit under the state. Explanation. Article 1021A states that a member of parliament shall be disqualified if he holds any office of profit under the state other than an office declared by parliament by law not to disqualify its holder. Other grounds include unsound mind, being a discharged insolvent, or acquiring foreign citizenship. Question 44. Which of the following matters is not exclusively dealt with by a money bill as mentioned in Article 110 of the Constitution? The correct answer is option D, provisions for the establishment of a new state. Explanation. Money bills deal exclusively with financial matters such as taxes, government borrowing, custody of funds, appropriation of money, and declaring expenditure charged on the consolidated fund. Provisions for the establishment of a new state fall under Article 3 and are typically part of an ordinary bill, though it requires the President's recommendation. Question 45. If the Rajya Sabha does not pass a money bill within 14 days of receiving it from the Lok Sabha, what is the consequence? The correct answer is option A. The bill is deemed to have been passed by both houses. Explanation. The Lok Sabha enjoys overriding legislative power in the passage of a money bill. If the Rajya Sabha does not pass the bill for 14 days, then on the expiry of the 14th day after having received the bill, it is deemed to have been passed by both the houses. Question 46. Which of the following statements is true regarding a constitutional amendment bill? The correct answer is option C. There is no provision for a joint sitting of both houses if a deadlock occurs. Explanation. A constitutional amendment bill can be introduced in either house of the parliament and does not require the recommendation of the president. It must be passed by a special majority, not less than 2/3 of members present and voting and a majority of total strength, in each house separately. The Constitution does not provide for a joint sitting of both houses if a deadlock develops. Question 47. The 102nd Amendment Act granted constitutional status to which of the following? The correct answer is option C, National Commission for Backward Classes. Explanation. The 102nd Amendment Act granted constitutional status to the National Commission for Backward Classes, NCBC. This was a significant step towards ensuring the welfare and protection of backward classes in India. Question 48. The 103rd Amendment Act provides for a maximum of 10% reservation for which category of citizens? The correct answer is option D, economically weaker sections, EWSs. Explanation. The 103rd Amendment Act introduced a maximum of 10% reservation for economically weaker sections, EWSs, of citizens of classes other than the classes mentioned in clauses 4 and 5 of Article 15. This provision aims to provide reservation benefits to economically disadvantaged individuals from unreserved categories. Question 49. Which type of presidential veto allows the president to neither ratify nor reject nor return a bill, but simply keep it pending for an indefinite period? The correct answer is option C, pocket veto. Explanation. The pocket veto is the power of the president not to take any action, either positive or negative, on the bill, thereby keeping it pending for an indefinite period. There is no time limit for the president to give comment on bills under this veto. Question 50. The emergency provisions in the Indian Constitution are adopted from the Constitution of which country? The correct answer is option C, Weimar Constitution of Germany. Explanation. The emergency provisions in India are adopted from the Weimar Constitution of Germany. These provisions allow the President to declare three types of emergencies: national, Article 352, state, Article 356, and financial, Article 360. Question 51. A national emergency under Article 352 can be proclaimed by the President only on the written advice of which body? The correct answer is option C, the Cabinet. Explanation: the President can proclaim a national emergency only on the written advice of the Cabinet. This safeguard was added by the 44th Amendment Act, 1978, to prevent misuse of emergency powers, as seen during the 1975 emergency. Question 52. A proclamation of national emergency ceases to be operational if not approved by Parliament within what period of its proclamation? The correct answer is option B, 1 month. Explanation: all proclamations of national emergency shall have to be sent to Parliament for approval, and it ceases to be operational if not approved within 1 month of the proclamation of emergency. Such approval by Parliament requires a special majority. Question 53. Under no circumstances can President's rule, state emergency, be extended beyond what maximum period without a constitutional amendment? The correct answer is option D, 3 years. Explanation: once approved by Parliament, President's rule can be enforced for not more than 6 months from the date of proclamation. Parliament can extend it for a further period of 6 months at a time. However, under no circumstances, state emergency cannot be extended beyond 3 years without a constitutional amendment. Question 54. During a financial emergency, Article 360, the President can issue directions for the reduction of salaries and allowances of which of the following? The correct answer is option C, civil servants and constitutional dignitaries of both union and states, including judges of SC and HCs. Explanation: during a financial emergency, the President can direct state governments to decrease salaries and allowances of civil servants and other constitutional dignitaries. The President can also issue directions for the reduction of salaries and allowances of judges of the Supreme Court and the High Courts. Question 55. What is the maximum size of a Vidhan Sabha, Legislative Assembly, as per the Constitution? The correct answer is option B, not more than 500 members. Explanation: the maximum size of a Vidhan Sabha is not more than 500 members and not less than 60. However, the size can be less than 60 members through an Act of Parliament, as is the case in states like Goa, Sikkim and Mizoram. Question 56. What is the minimum age required to become a member of a Vidhan Sabha? The correct answer is option C, 25 years. Explanation: to become a member of a Vidhan Sabha, a person must be a citizen of India and must have attained 25 years of age. Other qualifications include being mentally sound and not bankrupt. Question 57. In case of a deadlock over a nominee bill between the Vidhan Sabha and the Legislative Council, what is the maximum period for which the Legislative Council can delay the bill? The correct answer is option B, 4 months. Explanation: while disagreement between the two houses of the Union Parliament, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, is resolved by a joint sitting, there is no such provision at the state level. The Legislative Council can just delay a nominee bill for a maximum period of 4 months, 3 months in the first journey and 1 month in the second journey. Question 58. Which of the following states does not currently have a Legislative Council, Vidhan Parishad? The correct answer is option C, Madhya Pradesh. Explanation: currently, the Indian states having legislative councils are Telangana, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, and Karnataka. Madhya Pradesh does not have a legislative council. Question 59. 1/6 of the members of a legislative council are nominated by the governor from persons having knowledge or practical experience in fields such as. The correct answer is option B, literature, science, arts, the cooperative movement and social service. Explanation: 1/6 of the members of a legislative council are nominated by the governor from persons having knowledge or practical experience in fields such as literature, science, arts, the cooperative movement and social service. Question 60. Who among the following appoints the governor of a state? The correct answer is option C, the President of India. Explanation: the governor is merely appointed by the President, which really means by the Union Council of Ministers. The governor holds office during the pleasure of the President and can be removed by the President at any time. There is no impeachment process for the removal of governors. Question 61. Which of the following is a financial power of the governor? The correct answer is option C, causing the annual financial statement, state budget, to be laid before the state legislature. Explanation: the governor causes the annual financial statement, state budget, to be laid before the state legislature. Money bills can be introduced in the state legislative assembly only on the prior recommendation of the governor. He also constitutes the State Finance Commission. Question 62. In which of the following situations does the governor exercise discretionary powers? The correct answer is option C, sending a report to the President recommending President's rule upon the state. Explanation: the governor exercises discretionary powers when no party gets a majority in the Vidhan Sabha to appoint CM, or when sending a report to the President informing him that the state's constitutional functioning has been compromised and recommending the imposition of President's rule. Question 63. The Panchayati Raj system was constitutionalized through the 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act in which year? The correct answer is option C, 1992. Explanation: the Panchayati Raj system was constitutionalized through the 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act of 1992. This act added a new Part 9 to the Constitution, entitled the Panchayats, and also added the 11th schedule. Question 64. Which was the first state in India to set up the Panchayati Raj system in 1959? The correct answer is option C, Rajasthan. Explanation: Rajasthan was the first state to set up the Panchayati Raj system in 1959, followed by Andhra Pradesh. This system was inaugurated in Nagaur district of Rajasthan on 2nd October 1959. Question 65. What is the minimum age for contesting elections to panchayats as per the 73rd Amendment Act? The correct answer is option B, 21 years. Explanation: one of the compulsory provisions for Panchayati Raj institutions under the 73rd Amendment Act is that 21 years shall be the minimum age for contesting elections to panchayats. This ensures that elected representatives have a certain level of maturity and experience. Question 66. Which body is the apex body under the Panchayati Raj system at the district level? The correct answer is option C, Zilla Parishad. Explanation: the Zilla Parishad is the apex body under the Panchayati Raj system at the district level. It coordinates the activities of the various Panchayat Samitis and makes developmental plans at the district level. Question 67. As per the Supreme Court, Number of Judges, Constitutional Amendment Act, 2008, what is the sanctioned strength of the Supreme Court of India? The correct answer is option B, 1 Chief Justice plus 30 other judges. Explanation: the Supreme Court, Number of Judges, Constitutional Amendment Act in 2008 increased the strength of the Supreme Court to 31, 1 Chief Justice plus 30 other judges. Note that a more recent amendment in 2019 further increased it to 34, but based on the provided text, 31 is the answer. Question 68. Which of the following is not a qualification for appointment as a judge of the Supreme Court? The correct answer is option D, must have completed the age of 65 years. Explanation: the qualifications for a Supreme Court judge include being a citizen of India, having served as a High Court judge for 5 years, or a High Court advocate for 10 years, or being a distinguished jurist in the opinion of the President. There is no minimum age requirement, but a judge holds office until the age of 65 years, which is a retirement age, not a qualification for appointment. Question 69. Who was the first woman judge of the Supreme Court of India? The correct answer is option C, Justice Fatima Bibi. Explanation: the first woman judge of the Supreme Court was Justice Fatima Bibi in 1987. As of the provided text, there has been no female Chief Justice of India. Question 70. Which of the following falls under the original jurisdiction of the Supreme Court? The correct answer is option B, disputes between the centre and one or more states. Explanation: original jurisdiction means that certain types of cases can originate with the Supreme Court only. This includes disputes between the centre and one or more states, disputes between the centre and any states on one side and one or more states on the other side, disputes between two or more states, and disputes regarding the enforcement of fundamental rights. Question 71. Regarding the advisory jurisdiction of the Supreme Court, which statement is correct? The correct answer is option D. The Supreme Court is duty-bound to give advice, but it is not binding on the President to accept it. Explanation: under its advisory jurisdiction, if the President asks for advice from the Supreme Court on legal matters, the court is duty-bound to give it. However, it is not binding on the President to accept the advice. Question 72. The Chief Justice of a High Court is appointed by the President in consultation with which two authorities? The correct answer is option B, Chief Justice of India and Governor of the state concerned. Explanation: the Chief Justice of a High Court is appointed by the President in consultation with the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court and the Governor of the state concerned. For other judges of the High Court, the Chief Justice of the High Court concerned is also consulted. Question 73. A judge of the High Court holds office until he attains the age of. The correct answer is option B, 62 years. Explanation: a judge of the High Court shall hold office until he attains the age of 62 years. They can be removed by the President of India on the ground of proved misbehavior or inefficiency, following a resolution passed by both Houses of Parliament. Question 74. Under its revisee jurisdiction, the High Court is empowered to call for the records of any court to satisfy itself about the correctness or legality of the orders passed. This power is enjoyed under which article of the Constitution? The correct answer is option B, Article 227. Explanation: the High Court enjoys the power of supervision over all courts and tribunals within its territorial jurisdiction, except military tribunals, under Article 227 of the Constitution. This includes the power to call for records and pass necessary orders to ensure correctness and legality. Question 75. How many union territories are there in India as per the provided text? The correct answer is option B, 8. Explanation: the text states that there are 8 union territories of India, which include Delhi, Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh, Dadra and Nagar Haveli and Daman and Diu, Puducherry, Chandigarh, Andaman and Nicobar Islands, and Lakshadweep. Question 76. An administrator of a union territory is an agent of whom? The correct answer is option C, the President. Explanation: every union territory is administered by the President acting through an administrator appointed by him. An administrator of a union territory is an agent of the President and not a head of state like a governor? Question 77. The Election Commission of India is a permanent, independent body established by the Constitution under which article? The correct answer is option B, Article 324. Explanation: the Election Commission is a permanent, independent body established by the Constitution of India directly to ensure free and fair elections in the country. Article 324 of the Constitution provides that the power of superintendence, direction and control of elections shall be vested in the Election Commission. Question 78. What is the tenure of the Chief Election Commissioner, CC, and other election commissioners? The correct answer is option C, 6 years or up to the age of 65 years, whichever is earlier. Explanation: the tenure of the CC and the election commissioners has been fixed as 6 years, subject to the maximum age limit of 65 years, whichever is earlier. They are placed at par in matters of salary and allowances with a judge of the Supreme Court. Question 79. An election commissioner can be removed from office only on the recommendation of whom? The correct answer is option C, the Chief Election Commissioner. Explanation: to safeguard the independence of the Election Commission, the Constitution provides that an election commissioner cannot be removed from office except on the recommendation of the Chief Election Commissioner. The CEC, however, can only be removed in the same manner and on the same grounds as a judge of the Supreme Court. Question 80. The Union Public Service Commission, UPSC, has been established under which article of the Constitution of India? The correct answer is option B, Article 315. Explanation: the Union Public Service Commission, UPSC, has been established under Article 315 of the Constitution of India. It is an independent constitutional body responsible for recruitment to services and promotions under the Union. Question 81. The chairman and members of a State Public Service Commission, SPSC, hold office for a term of 6 years or until they attain the age of. The correct answer is option B, 62 years. Explanation: the chairman and members of a State Public Service Commission, SPSC, hold office for a term of 6 years or until they attain the age of 62 years, whichever is earlier. They are appointed by the governor but can only be removed by the president. Question 82. A Joint State Public Service Commission, JSPSC, is created by an Act of Parliament on the request of the state legislatures concerned. Therefore, a JSPSC is a. The correct answer is option B, statutory body. Explanation: a Joint State Public Service Commission, JSPSC, is created by an Act of Parliament on the request of the state legislatures concerned. Thus, a JSPSC is a statutory and not a constitutional body, as it is not directly provided for in the Constitution but created by a law of Parliament. Question 83. The Controller and Auditor General of India, CAG, is appointed by whom? The correct answer is option C, the President of India. Explanation: the Controller and Auditor General of India, CAG, is appointed by the President of India. He holds office for a period of 6 years or up to the age of 65 years, whichever is earlier, and can be removed in the same manner as a judge of the Supreme Court. Question 84. The Attorney General of India, AGI, has the right to attend and speak in the parliamentary deliberations and meetings of both houses, but without a right to. The correct answer is option C, vote. Explanation: although the Attorney General of India, AGI, is not a member of either House of Parliament, he enjoys the right to attend and speak in the parliamentary deliberations and meetings of both the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, but without a right to vote. He is the first legal officer of the Government of India. Question 85. Which of the following statements is true regarding the Consolidated Fund of India? The correct answer is option B. All expenditures of the Government of India are spent out of this fund. Explanation. The Consolidated Fund of India, Article 266, is a constitutional fund where all receipts, loans, and income of the Government of India are deposited. All expenditures of the Government of India are spent out of the Consolidated Fund of India. No money can be deposited into, withdrawn, or appropriated out of it without the prior sanction of the Parliament. Question 86. The Contingency Fund of India is placed at the disposal of whom to meet unforeseen expenditures? The correct answer is option C, the President. Explanation. The Contingency Fund of India, Article 267, is used to meet unforeseen expenditures of the Government of India. It is placed at the disposal of the President, who can provide the sanction for meeting an emergency expenditure out of it. The money is later approved and replenished by Parliament from the Consolidated Fund. Question 87. Which of the following is a condition for a political party to be recognized as a national party by the Election Commission of India? The correct answer is option C, if it is recognized as a state party in 4 states. Explanation. A party is recognized as a national party if it wins 2% of seats in Lok Sabha from 3 states, or if it secures 6% of valid votes polled in any 4 or more states, LS-La, and wins 4 seats in the Lok Sabha, or if it is recognized as a state party in 4 states. Question 88. The estimate of expenditure in respect of a ministry department not charged upon the Consolidated Fund of India, placed for approval before the House on the recommendations of the President, is known as. The correct answer is option C, demand for grant. Explanation. The estimate of expenditure in respect of a ministry department not charged upon the Consolidated Fund of India, placed for approval before the House on the recommendations of the President, is called a demand for grant. These are voted upon by the Lok Sabha. Question 89. Which type of cut motion proposes that the amount of the demand be reduced by Re. 1. To express disapproval of policy. The correct answer is option C, disapproval of policy cut. Explanation. A cut motion is a veto power given to members of the Lok Sabha to oppose a demand for grant. The disapproval of policy cut proposes that the amount of the demand be reduced by Re. 1. To signify disapproval of the underlying policy. Question 90. Normally, the first hour of the business of a house every day, devoted to asking and answering of questions, is called the. The correct answer is option C, question hour. Explanation. Normally, the first hour of the business of a house every day is devoted to questions and is called question hour, 11 a.m. to 12 o'clock noon. This is an important mechanism for members to hold the government accountable. Question 91. A starred question in Parliament is one to which a member desires. The correct answer is option B, an oral answer, which may be followed by supplementary questions. Explanation. A starred question is one to which a member desires an oral answer in the House. Answer to such a question may be followed by up to 5 supplementary questions by other members. This allows for immediate follow-up and clarification. Question 92. The calling attention notice, an Indian innovation, is used by a member to call the attention of a minister to a matter of urgent public importance. This motion is not available in which house? The correct answer is option B, Rajya Sabha. Explanation. The calling attention notice is an Indian innovation. There is no calling attention notice in the Rajya Sabha. Instead, there exists a motion called motion for papers in the Rajya Sabha for similar purposes. Question 93. Which country was the first to implement the Goods and Services Tax, GST? The correct answer is option C, France. Explanation: France was the first country to implement the GST in 1954. India adopted GST through the 101st Amendment Act, which was enforced on 8 September 2016, aiming to create one unified common market. Question 94. Which department under the Ministry of Finance is the nodal agency responsible for producing the union budget? The correct answer is option C, Department of Economic Affairs. Explanation: the Department of Economic Affairs under the Ministry of Finance is the nodal agency responsible for producing the union budget. The union budget is formally known as the Annual Financial Statement, as per Article 112 of the Constitution. Question 95. The Committee on Estimates, constituted for the first time in 1950, consists of how many members? The correct answer is option C, 30 members. Explanation: the Committee on Estimates is a parliamentary committee consisting of 30 members, all from the Lok Sabha. Its term of office is 1 year, and its functions include reporting on economies, improvements in organization, efficiency, and administrative reform. Question 96. Who presented the first Union Budget of Independent India on 26 November 1947? The correct answer is option C, Sir R.K. Shanmugam Chettai. Explanation: the first Union Budget of Independent India was presented by the first Finance Minister of Independent India, Sir R.K. Shanmugam Chettai, on 26 November 1947. Question 97. In which financial year was the railway budget merged with the Union Budget for the first time? The correct answer is option D, 2017-18. Explanation: the budget presented by Finance Minister Arun Jaitley for the financial year 2017-18 was unprecedented in that, for the first time ever, a railway budget was not presented separately. This practice was discontinued, and both Union Budget and Railway Budget were merged and presented together. Question 98. Which article of the Indian Constitution defines money bills? The correct answer is option D, Article 110. Explanation: Article 110 of the Indian Constitution provides the definition of money bills, outlining the specific financial matters that fall under this category. Article 109 deals with the special procedure in respect of money bills. Question 99. The provisions regarding the annual financial statement, budget, are contained in which article of the Indian Constitution? The correct answer is option B, Article 112. Explanation: Article 112 of the Indian Constitution mandates that a statement of estimated receipts and expenditure of the Government of India, commonly known as the annual financial statement or budget, has to be laid before the Parliament. Question 100. According to the table of precedence, Government of India, who among the following holds a higher position? The correct answer is option D, former presidents. Explanation: the table of precedence indicates the hierarchy of positions. The order is President, Vice President, Prime Minister, Governors of States, within their respective states, former presidents, Deputy Prime Minister, Chief Justice of India, Speaker of Lok Sabha, Cabinet Ministers of the Union. Therefore, former presidents hold a higher position than CJI, Speaker, or Cabinet Ministers.